We are back with another video as the East experiences a little bit of a wintry mix that is upcoming for the next few days, and then it gets warm. Very warm for the East as the West kind of faces the opposite reaction and gets a little colder. So we're going to talk about all that. It's been a really long time. I missed the complete blizzard, and that is my fault. Pretty historic blizzard for those that don't know. A little recap. Dropped 30 to 40 inches of snow in portions of Rhode Island and brought 20 plus inches from southern Jersey up through New York City and Boston. Philly experienced over a foot. However, DC and Baltimore got a little screwed over as there was a sharp western cutoff of the precipitation shield since it was your classic Miller A nor'easter. So that's your recap. That's out of the way, and really most of that snow is really melting, and almost is completely melted. Like here, I'm again near Philly. We have just some small piles. I mean, we have basically eroded most of that snow. When you get closer to like Rhode Island, I mean, you're farther north, and you also got that 40 plus inches in spots. So you obviously still have your big piles, but there is some grass that's already starting to show for some areas. So it's warm, and it's going to be the warmest it has been since probably last year. Coming up late this week, especially into early next week. Okay, then we could get another little cold blast, but that's far out. We're talking about the warm, and it's going to get warm. So that's that. And the West is going to experience that cold. So satellite imagery shows it's somewhat active. I mean, you do have a little bit of an upper level low in the West that's diving through. High clouds in the desert Southwest. And then you have the system. Okay, it's a very weak, flat system right here. This is kind of moving, I mean, it's moving really quick to the east, but you're going to have this moisture feed from the Gulf and the Pacific, so it's kind of moisture latent, and so you're going to get this low. You're going to get multiple little lows that kind of ride this boundary, and you're going to get precipitation in the northeast. Now for the cities, for example, DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, you guys all are likely to get some wintry weather. Okay, DC had its fair bout today, 1 to 2 inches in spots. Baltimore as well, closer just to 1 inch. Philly, right on the edge, not much. But tonight, we're going to have that impulse that kind of comes through. But you have warm air advection overrunning. So you have a high, Arctic high, funneling down colder air. You have your low, moving north, warm air advection, sneaking up. So you get overrunning precipitation, okay, where you get cold air, or precipitation to overrun cold air. So you get snow and ice, okay. DC, you're going to get some ice after the snow you just got. Same with Baltimore. Philly could start as snow before going to ice, but all of it should be generally under an inch and just glazes of ice. But it comes at a ideal time frame for travel disruptions Tuesday morning. So we're going to have to watch out for those cities. For mid-morning commute, it'd be more impactful for New York City, where you also go snow and ice. And then Boston, it mainly impacts into Wednesday afternoon, so evening commute could get impacted. All of these areas, all the cities will go to rain, though. Okay, that's the warm air advection will erode the low-level cold. But how quick it does that, how much wintry precipitation falls before that is key to what we have. We do have widespread winter weather advisories, which I'll show you guys that in a bit. Once you go, especially northwest of 95, it's obviously the greater risk of snow and ice. So let's look at that analysis. There's your big upper level low in the west. Here's your high pressure in the east. Not ideally centered. You ideally want it probably like here. Generally, you'd want it more west, and you want it stronger. This is 1038, so it's pretty strong, but it's moving out. Okay, it's basically moving out. Here, let's do latest previous map. You can see it was right here. Next map, it's moving out. It's moving out pretty rapidly. So just keep that in mind. You can see, watch this high right here. Boom, kind of splits into two. I mean, that's still generally the main high, but then this one starts to take over. And overall, generally, it's moving east. It's heading out. Now, there's your low right there in Arkansas. That's racing, okay? I know it looks far, but it's coming very quick. And you do have your cold air damming signature, pretty classic. You have the high right here, and you see the barbs going like that. Okay, those barbs going like that. That's your cold air damming setting up, honestly, a little more east than usual. Well, also because the high is a little more east than usual. So we're watching that. And then behind it, it gets warm. But that's more Arctic air. We're going to watch that. That could drop down. This high is bringing some cooler than average temperatures right now, but we're going to get moderation. So here's our National Weather Service, quiet aside from the Northeast. Okay, some scattered winter weather advisories, red flag advisories, winter weather warnings, or wind advisory, red flag warnings, etc. Northeast is where you have it. Okay, all these areas, winter weather advisories. We can kind of take it office by office, just quick, brief. DC, special weather statement for it, but it's in the metro. You have your urban heating island, so you're going to deal with more impacts on roads, especially to the north and west. Same with Baltimore. If you get closer to Philly, though, you're a little colder. You're able to hang on, especially because you're deeper in that cold air damming wedge, so you do get some impacts possibly to the city and even portions of the southeast suburbs. New York City, big metro, warming heat island, so nothing issued there. The mountains, this is what's interesting too. Okay, something to keep in mind with the mountains, if my analogy is correct. Let's see. So basically, you will have a wintry mix, but since you're cold air damming, obviously cold air is more dense, likes to sink lower than warmer air as that goes above. So in the higher elevations, you're actually going to be in that warmer air, and the valleys is where the colder air will be, which is like to the west and east. So you don't actually have winter weather advisories. We'll see if that changes. Still going to get winter weather either way, but the lower you are technically in elevation right now, in at least near the mountains, is where you'll have stronger colder damming effects. And then when you get further up, Boston, right outside suburbs, though, in the winter weather advisories. So we're watching all that snow, ice to rain. Now, storm prediction, and some areas won't go fully to rain. That you have to get further north and closer to the wedge. Then you could get higher elevations when you get towards like Conway, New Hampshire, and north. So let's take a look at severe weather, because that's going to be an outlook, and we'll see what weather matches that. Day 2, marginal risk here, but it gets really interesting. Day 3, here's your first slight risk. Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Plano, Garland, mainly affecting areas in Texas. And day 4 through 8, it's active. Look, day 4, Texas, 5, same general area, 6, and then 7 and 8, not there, but it generally hovers in this area. Day 5 is a little more expansive, but we're going to have to watch that severe threat, okay? So let's go through the RGEMs, short range progression. High departs, there's your wintry mix, quickly over to rain as warmer air takes over. And here, kind of, you could get some severe weather sparking up there. We'll see how much it sparks up. Here it is closer to Texas, where you get more of a Gulf feed, warmer air. And there's your spike up right there, 4 a.m. This is getting into Thursday. Could be an overnight threat. You get some spike ups of severe weather generally in this area. Then look at that. Maybe another one. This one is the one where we have those slight risks, okay? These look pretty impressive. So we'll watch that as we get closer in range. European, for longer range, slightly longer range, shows that severe weather showing up in the short range. There's your bigger threat. This could be big, okay? This, depending on how strong this low gets. You can even see it. It doesn't even go sub 1,000, though. You have such a warm air feed, okay, from the Gulf. You got supercells extending, or at least semi-discrete cells extending from almost in Mexico all the way up through almost South Dakota, which just shows how expansive this threat could be. Obviously, the strongest centered towards Texas, where you have all your ingredients. And then after that, you get just rain rounds. Okay, look at this. Another severe threat possibility. This is far out, but just shows the potential with this. Okay, and then we could get cold again. But so just know that even if we get spring warm up, it's gonna be more of a fall spring. Like, you can definitely cool down, but it's gonna be harder to get down by the colder air that we have been getting through, especially earlier in the February month. Now that we're in March, it changes. Higher sun angle as well. So 2-meter temperature. Let's just see how this plays out. So watch how many of these areas below freezing or at or below freezing really warm up. Okay, this is already 12 a.m. Tuesday, March. Not much. And then look, it really, like, that cold air gets really confined. Okay, you have warm air. Your freezing line, if we were to go here back to hour 0, let's go. This is 7 a.m. today. 7 a.m. today, we'll just mark the freezing line. Okay, generally, we'll mark it right in here. Okay, this disregards is, like, you know, mountainous terrain. Okay, we'll just do the mountainous terrain, a little raggedy, jaggedy. So watch. This is your freezing line at night. We'll go 7 a.m. like Thursday. if we can get there. 7 a.m. March 4th. Yeah, 7 a.m. Thursday, right there. This is 7 a.m. Thursday, okay? Look how much more north that freezing line is. That is well north, except, okay, and you have your some higher elevations here. But that is well north, okay? I mean, many areas, like DC to New York City at least through Thursday, and then Boston gets in the mix. You get just warmth. This could be overdone, but, I mean, it just shows you 70s up into the Dakotas, okay? If we're taking closer, now in the Northeast, it's going to be interesting. You're going to have a backdoor cold front. Where does it set up? Here, for example, this, I have to make sure it's the right times. 3 p.m., yeah. Here, for example, it sets up like right here. So you're colder, 40s and 50s to the north and east, 60s, 70s plus when you go south and east, okay? South and west. So where does it set up, okay? You can see how it kind of stalls. You see that warm push. It comes up. But then it's not really able to push. Okay, so then it looks like it gets a little warmer, but it's going to be close. Okay, usually it likes to set up between Baltimore and Philly. So we're going to watch how that pans out. Euro can probably show the temperatures a little further on, but it's going to get mild for what we've seen recently, at least, for sure. Here you can see it. There, you can, if you do get a little bit of a cutting system where you have a low pressure that cuts through the Dakotas, and then you get it through the Northeast, then you eventually kind of get that warmer air, and that's how you see those 70s. Like, if we were to zoom in right now, this is 2 p.m. March 8th, so this is a little farther out. This is what, next weekend, this coming weekend at least. 72, 80s south of DC, 72 to Philly, 70s to New York City. There's our backward cold front kind of through here, keeping it much more cooler up here. Some coastal influence along coastal Maine, but it just shows that we're going to get mild, okay? And then after, we could get cold again, okay? So it's going to get volatile. That's what spring's about, so we'll watch that very closely. If we look at 500 millibar geopotential heights, we won't zoom out on the big picture, just show everything. Here's your kind of cold air damping signature, but then you just get that tall ridge. It's going to be very welcoming for many, including myself. So, tall ridge, mid to late week especially. I mean, you see it's spiking this weekend. This weekend will be very pleasant. But after that, through early next week, possibly midweek, after that we watch the colder air return and you get that ridge in the west again. So we'll watch it, but enjoy it while it lasts for sure. Okay? It'll definitely be interesting to see how it pans out. And this could be, I'm not going to say for sure, but this could be one of the last wintry weather threats for a portion of the 95 of this season. So if you're a winter weather fan, enjoy it. Not sure we'll get more. We certainly could. It's not super uncommon. It's uncommon, but it's not super uncommon to get it in the month of March. Boston especially, New York City especially, not too uncommon. DC gets a little harder. So we'll watch that, but if it is, just keep an eye on that. And that's about it for this video. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and stay safe.